What's good, everybody? Hey, we're going to get started here in a second. Hold on. Let me just, I know YouTube's kind of been acting a little strange lately. And yeah, actually, it's working today. So cool, cool. Bear with me, guys, 1 second. Awesome. There we go. Perfect. What the heck, man? All right, that works. Sounds perfect, man. Let's do this. All right, how's everybody doing? Happy Tuesday. Happy Wednesday to some of you guys over on the other side of the world. Let's dive into it, man. All right, cool. You prefer Alexa voice? Dude, is it just me or did that just start? I don't even know where that function is. It just started, I think, like last week doing that. Yeah, it is, bro. It is. So yeah, no worries, man. You're feeling unstoppable? Good, man. Good. Yeah, I'll tell you what, like last week, I think I only took 6 total trades and 3 of them were freaking bangers of a trade. They were 3 GN trades that I took. Um, Everything else was kind of just break evens or small losses. I really wasn't, I'll go through and we'll recap what's going on. Um, let's dive into this. And then for those of you that are doing some crypto investment, Sunday gave a really nice pullback for if you are investing in crypto to get into some stuff. So it was definitely worth it. So real quick, I'll just do a recap of some of the stuff that I am still holding. A lot of it is still the same. We'll go down the list. AU. So for me, AU is still in play. Like I'm still in from this position down here. I mean, it's nothing crazy. I think at this point here, I'm only up like 60 pips on it. So it's like a 1 to 7, I think, on it. Yeah, it's like a 1 to 7. From a lower time frame, right? Lower time frame perspective, you could see that we had a schematic print yesterday. Yeah, we did have a schematic print. And there is some New Zealand news coming out tonight, 10 p.m. Eastern. It's their FOMC, so their cash rate and stuff like that. I don't see them changing fundamentally their cash rate. They're going to still stay at the 0.25%. It's going to be more out of that press conference, and that's kind of like what's been happening probably since the last like 12 months. Obviously, if they take a hawkish tone, we're going to see the Kiwi appreciate. If they take a dovish tone, depending on how they're going to be saying, we're going to see the Kiwi depreciate. So, I'm not seeing, anything really drastic to come out of tonight's, press conference. So I'm just going to keep playing the way I see the charts. For me, the Australian US dollar pair, I'm still bullish on, right? Before we get into any of that, I'll just kind of cover DXY real quick, right? So dollar index, my alert, I know a couple of you guys saw it. My alert for death to the US dollar went off. And, again, why was I looking, let me go to blue. Why was I looking at this as like the line in the sand that I needed to get broken for the dollar to be bearish? And it was because this is the area of demand that ultimately mitigated out of this small little accumulation and then forced this push. So we really could not have traded below this accumulation, right? There's a nice little type 1 in here. When we did that, we essentially took out demand. We took out buyers. And, the fact that we came into the 3-day out of this monster of a redistribution over here, that's it. I mean, it's death to the dollar. So, I talked about it last week. Nothing's changed. I mean, look at just look at the chart. If you understand supply and demand, you understand Wyckoff, you understand cause and effect. What are we getting? Well, we had a distribution here on the weekly. Distribution did what? Distribution broke out of the trading range. From there, what did it do? It came back, created another distribution. The UTAD mitigated out of supply. And why wouldn't I think that we're going to push in another low? And then, this little reaccumulation ain't going to hold anything up. I mean, we're coming for this. So, I mean, I can't tell you when we're going to get there, but I could tell you we're coming for it. So I see low 80s for the US dollar, absolutely. Yeah, it's 100% for me. So, everything with that mindset, I am bullish. I am bullish on everything like that. And I'm really not interested in trying to buy any US dollar crosses like UCAD, USHEF, UJ. I'm not really interested in doing that just because of this right here. So that being said, going back to AU, the reason I am bullish, right? The reason I'm bullish on AU, not only did we catch a really nice entry out of this reaccumulation, and ultimately what I'm waiting for now is I want to see if we can trade back down into this area here. So I'm a little concerned that this accumulation did not or was unable to take out this supply point. So for me, that's why I'm waiting for a schematic, right? I'm either going to wait for a schematic out of this reaccumulation SC area, or I'm going to look for ultimately an entry out of lower time frame stuff down here. We'll look over at the 5-minute down in here. All right, so that's ideally how I'm going to play it. You can already see like the attempted distribution here. We do have a shakeout. There is an accumulation that happened in here. So if we end up doing something like this, we break this high here, then I'm going to be looking in here as my number 1 point of interest, and then in here as my number 2. So the two ways I'm going to get into a buy are going to be, obviously, if we break this high out of this reaccumulation here, then again, if this is the reaccumulation on the lower time frame that causes the break, that's going to be number 1 point of interest. And if not, I'm going to be looking at it here, number 2. All right. If we don't break it, right, and we just trade lower, right, if we end up trading lower down into here, then out of this slingshot area, I would need a schematic, or out of the lower end, right? Ideally, I don't want us to trade below here. All right. Can we still trade below it? I mean, we can, because we can come deeper into, this push here. I just really don't want it to. All right. That's going to be a huge momentum shift. And, for the buy that I'm holding out of here, I really don't want it to trade below here. We could also see in a higher time frame, you could see 1, 2, 3 drives. So, I don't want it to spring into here. I would rather us maybe trade here and go higher and just create this as just one really, elongated type 2. Let's see. All right, you got it, bro. Schematic required even on the spring. Yeah, even on the spring. Yeah. Yeah, about here. Yeah, just because we haven't taken this high, like order flow is still bearish. So yeah, that's why. You got a nice point of POI for EG. All right, cool. Yeah. I mean, EG's on I think EG's on my primary right now, but EG's not the favorite setup right now. I mean, we'll get to EG. Yeah, there you go. So that's kind of my thought on AU. I'm still looking for buys. We are, like, if you just bounce up to like the 4 hour, I mean, you can kind of see it. We ultimately have this going on right here. So you had the schematic, you had an attempted distro, you have your creek, you have your accumulation on your 2 drives down, right? Remember, 3 drives up, 2 drives down, that's your reaccumulation. So it's setting up. It's just a matter of where we're going to get the entry in, So, tomorrow morning, hopefully we are down here and I can start working an entry up and targeting some new highs. All right. So that's kind of what I'm going to be playing with AU. On the Chef JPY side, nothing's changed. I mean, I'm still holding this stupid thing. Um, I've been trying to catch a re-entry on Chef JPY. You could kind of see I wanted to take an entry out of here or here. We're just keep going higher. We had a really nice reaccumulation here. Wanted a schematic here. Nope. We had a schematic here. Wanted an entry. No, we're not coming into the entries that I really wanted. It did come, the stupid thing did come into a point of interest that I did like out of this reaccumulation right here. Only problem is I forgot to set my order. So I had it set off the 50% of the 12 and the 10 minute. I had 80% of the 31 minute, which was the big push here. I just forgot to set the order. And I don't know. I think it was something to do with like my alert. I had an alert set at this low. The alert never went off. I never really checked it again. And by the time I looked, we were all the way up here. But this was the only entry that, and it was still, off of the 50% mark. I mean, we're still talking 11 pips on Chef JPY. So nothing that I would have really wanted to play. But I am still holding, listen, I'm still holding this thing from down here. So we're at currently about almost 400 pips. I mean, it was over 400 pips at one point. So I'm still holding, partials on it. I got 25% volume still left. It's at actually this may turn in, funny enough, Chef JPY to date, Chef JPY holds my highest R to R, a 1 to 287. And we're currently sitting at 1 to 215 right now. So it's at a 1 to 215. So we'll see if I can get it to like 1 to 300. But yeah, any pullbacks on Chef JPY, I'm going to continue to look for entries, but this was the only pullback that we were able to, or at least I was able to see. Nothing else, and realistically, lower time frame. This is how I'm looking at it, right? Lower time frame. This is what is maintaining lower time frame structure. We had the break out of this reaccumulation, and it looks like it's giving, or it gave an accumulation here. So, I really wasn't looking at it yesterday. I wasn't looking at it this morning. And I really don't want to buy from these highs. I would really like either a decent pullback into like an intraday time frame, or I just want this to continue going higher, and I'll keep managing my position that I'm holding on it. So in my trading plan, what qualifies for a primary, secondary, for it to be on my primary watch list, it has to line up structure wise with the bias that I want to do. So either, if I'm buying, it's, we've got to have at minimum 2 out of the 3 timeframes. So, intraday and lower time frame needs to be bullish, and it needs to have created a new higher, new low. So like if I'm waiting for a break of structure, it's going to be on my secondary list. If I'm waiting for, if we're hypothetically in a daily distribution, I'm waiting for the third leg to form, the third wave. So, and then so that'll be like on the secondary list. If I've got to wait for a long-term break of structure or an alarm to go off, then it's on the secondary. If it's on the primary, I'm typically just waiting for confirmation to set the order limit, and obviously if it's in my pending, it's all confirmations are met. I'm just waiting on the order to trigger. Can I go over that trade? Which trade? That 1 to 200? Yeah. Just, I mean, if you watch the last 2 videos, I've gone over Chef JPY, so I don't even think I can get down to the lower time frame anymore. It was off the 15-second. So just watch the last 2 videos, like last week's or the week before, when we covered, it was in the beginning of the video, we covered Chef JPY. Because I've gone over it. I mean, hell, I've been holding that thing for, when did I get into this trade? I got into this trade April 23rd is when I got into that trade. So a month. I've been holding it for a month. So yeah, I don't even think I could get down there. I'd have to open up my journal. Let me just see. Yeah, it won't even let me get down there. So yeah, but I know it was off the 15-second time frame, just based off of a type 1 accumulation. So how can you go about back testing schematics? What do you mean? Yeah. How do you go about back testing schematics? just back test it, go in replay mode and pretend it's a live trade. And keep going back and back and, keep going through the same schematic until you figure it out, until you got it down packed. Yeah. All right, cool, man. Thanks. I mean, listen, if you've never heard this before, this is my philosophy, right? And when I started or when I stopped trying to be a trader before a market analyst, that's when I really started to understand and get the clarity out of the market, right? You want to be able to understand and analyze what the hell the market's doing before you actually start throwing equity at it, right? Before you can be a trader, you got to know what it's doing. So, I'm not a very big advocate on, getting people, like, I don't build a business, right? Like, I'm not, most of you guys know I'm still part of IM, but I'm not a huge builder because I don't try to push people to start making money right away. No, you want to understand, you want to be a trader, you got to understand what the market's doing. So, be a good market analyst. When you can analyze the market properly, then start trading it. April 20. Yeah, it was, let's see, April 23rd. Yeah. So you can watch, you can even go back to whatever the Tuesday after April 23rd was. And it's in the beginning of the stream, because I always do my active orders first. So yeah, perfect. All right. So Chef JPY, I'm still holding the stupid thing. Like I said, I would be interested, if tomorrow morning or during London session, actually, if we come in and we build a schematic in here, I'd be interested in a buy. But just keep in mind, we're very, 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 at a premium price. Like, there is no discount here. So you're buying at some pretty significant highs. You can also see I've got the 50% of the weekly candle marked off, this weekly candle. So, at this point, this was an area I was expecting to get a pullback. And I mean, there's no sign of weakness. We're just continuing to push higher. So, I am looking for buys. I am going to manage what I have, and then we'll go from there. CADJ, we'll take a look at CADJ. I'm curious to see what everybody is talking about CADJ. Yeah. We'll give a look at CADJ. I mean, I could be 100% wrong, but I'll give everybody my walkthrough on CADJ. Moving on to EJ. So listen, I've been holding this thing going on 2 months now. So 2 months, almost right now it's the second longest trade I've held, minus gold. So we're on 2 months. This thing has broken. What did we get up to? We got up to at 1.522 pips in profit. I'm still holding it. No reason to close this thing, right? Same thing. I've been looking to try to re-enter some more positions. It's just not giving it to me. However, we do have an opportunity now. So from a lower time frame perspective, you can see that this is our new leg on the lower time frame. So what was the cause of the new leg coming out of this slingshot area? If we get a schematic, right, I will buy it from here to go higher. If not, I want to play it off of this type 2 schematic that came down here. So if we do trade lower into here, I would need a schematic to take it higher. And if not, slingshot area. These are my first 2 points of interest, right? We're bullish, higher time frame, bullish intraday, bullish lower time frame, bullish order flow. So, I at this point, if I'm going to take a buy, it's got to be out of the lower time frame, right? Before I can get to the intraday, it's got to be out of the lower time frame. So these are the two. I've got my alert set here. Hopefully, we, get in here during London session, maybe build a schematic, maybe New York session sweeps the liquidity, we break structure, and then, I can get a nice little entry off the test. So EJ is kind of what I'm looking at. Slingshot. Thanks, you guys. Thank you. On the schematic, it'd be the selling climax, but in structure, it's the slingshot candle. You're talking shorts for CJ. All right, we'll get to CJ. I told myself I knew I'd get. I said I'd get about 15 people asking about CJ. So we'll get into it. So Euro USD too. Euro USD is another banger of a trade that I've been holding, actually going on 2 weeks now. So, what was it, back on May 13th when we caught this entry out of here? This thing's well over our 1 to 100. What are we sitting at right now? So this entry here it's a 1 to 143. Really nice. I've already taken 3 partials out of it. I've secured partials. And now, I was entertaining a sell. This morning out of this. It ended up playing off the slingshot, right? And I wasn't willing to take an entry off the slingshot. So we can clearly see this was the redistribution on the seconds time frame, the slingshot that created the break of structure out of the type 2. I had an entry up here. When price ends up making a new low, that entry got invalidated. And, at this point, this is, my opinion, this is going to turn into a reaccumulation. You could see I've got my alert setting up here. We already have our creek, right? We already have our creek. And if you just take a look at what EU did, right? And maybe you guys haven't heard me say this before. But I look at 3 major things, right? 3 major things are what decide how I'm going to take a trade, right? The first is always going to be structure, right? Structure is the key. It is the most important thing. The second is going to be supply and demand, right? Supply and demand. And if you understand Wyckoff, you can see the schematics, where supply and demand is resting. And then the last is cause and effect, right? Cause and effect. And you'll always ask, I'll always ask people when you send me a chart, I'm like, what did that do? What did that schematic do? What did this do? What did that do? Right? So, no question about EU being massively bullish, right? Now, I do 100% see that we are in the start of a distribution here, right? I can pretty much guarantee that this distribution will turn into a reaccumulation at some point. All right. But now, coming out of the lower time frame distribution that I was trying to catch this morning, okay, what did it do? Right? Did it do anything? Well, it did a lot, right? We had a distribution that traded into the slingshot reaccumulation area of what? Demand, right? It came into demand, reacted very nicely off demand, and it caused a jump across the creek. So the distribution was unable to invalidate a demand point, right? So this is telling me that that buyers are still in control. And I'm pretty confident that Asian's probably going to do its stupid little thing. London may do something like that. We'll get the confirmation of a reaccumulation, and potentially I'll look for an entry during New York for the buy. All right. But the fact that the distribution was unable to break through this small, itty bitty, little tiny demand zone reaccumulation tells me that there's not a lot of pressure from sellers to take this lower. So that's one of the things I'm really kind of paying attention to, and always ask yourself cause and effect. Like, what did it do? Just don't look at a simple schematic. Like, what did it do? Did it do anything? And if it didn't do anything, then it just tells you that it's not, one, there's not a lot of interest driving behind it. And two, it's kind of giving you that pre-notion of where or what the agenda truly is. So creek makes the distro weak. The creek makes the distro weak. Well, just think of the creek as your trend line, right? It's order flow essentially. So your creek and your ice are going to be just the trend line. Okay. All right. So for EU, like I said, we're bullish on it every time frame. This is what's maintaining lower time frame structure. This is the slingshot. We've already seen a reaction out of the slingshot. So, at this point, one of two things needs to happen. We need to either confirm this as a reaccumulation. If that's the case, then if this is our lower time frame reaccumulation that causes the high, then this will be my first point of interest to look for a buy out of. And if not, I'll be looking at it here. If we don't make this high and we kind of just price action just falls apart, then I'll be looking for something down out of here. Potentially even, like, I haven't really dove into it, but potentially out of this, because I got a feeling this is like the 8:30 candle, the New York Open candle. So this may have been the mitigation out of this reaccumulation, and we could potentially see something out of here, you know. But again, until the lower time frame gets invalidated, there's no reason to look for anything lower, until the lower time frame gets invalidated, and yeah, again, this distribution, I was going to work a hedge in, but it missed my entry, and then from there it looks like it's just going to fall apart. um let's see. All right, cool, I'm caught up. Cool, caught up. And then lastly is NU, right? Lastly is NU. What do I mean by the lower time frame being invalidated? Well, okay. So before I can take an entry out of the intraday, right? And let's just say that, hold on, I don't want to misspeak. Let's look, where's the intraday at? So, all right, perfect. So before I take, because this is the intraday leg, right? This is our intraday leg right here. Before I can take an entry out of this demand point, right? Price has to come down there. Okay, price has to invalidate lower time frame structure. It has to take out this low, right? Until price takes out that low, it cannot come to the intraday side. Well, how many times in the last, since the start of the year, right? Let's look at it. So there has been one time right here. That was the only time that we invalidated lower time frame structure since the end of February, right? One time since the end of February that's happened. So for me, I'm going to continue to look for buys at a lower time frame structure until it gets invalidated, and then I would be looking for a buy out of the intraday leg. Okay. Yeah. So, yep, no worries, man. All right, and then NU, lastly, NU, again, like I'm still holding from last week, took in the buy out of the mitigation of the reaccumulation. All right, we did have a schematic. This did give an entry last week. I did not get into it. I saw it after. I told a bunch of people that I know to go back and back test this thing. It sucks that I missed it. I don't remember what candle it was that I saw, but you can see. Hold on. You can see that we traded just past 50% of the spring. Wherever that candle was. But the most important thing was, well, what happened in there, right? So if you come down to the 1 minute, you'll see that we had a reaccumulation happen here, and then again this is the 8:30 candle, right? You can see at the bottom of the screen, May 13th, 8:30 in the morning, Eastern time, New York Open. All right. If you come down to the 15-second, right, that 15-second candle is where the money's at right there, right? That was the sell that swept liquidity, ended up taking off from there. And this ended up causing the break of structure. So that was the only entry that I saw that was worth it. It did give the entry. I mean, it came right into that 50. Yeah, you can see it right there. Came right into the 50% of the 15-second. It would have been a 3 pip stop. I didn't catch it. I didn't take it. This came in at 2:45 p.m. my time, so I was probably doing something else. I wasn't on the charts. And then from there it rallied 96 pips. So it would have been up a 1 to 30 off of it. From right now, like what I see on NU is a couple of things. We do have a schematic in here. All right. We did break the order flow. So if we do come down today or tomorrow, I'll take a schematic, I'll take a lower time frame schematic to take it higher. If we don't, and we go higher first, then I'll be looking at this candle right here, and I can potentially set a limit order off of it. All right. So there's two ways I'm going to get into this trade. You can already see what it's kind of doing right now. It looks like it's doing a reaccumulation, right? You could see an attempted distribution going on. We've got our creek. Potentially maybe the news gives a spike down, does a shakeout. From there, we break structure. come back to mitigate out of that shakeout, and then it goes higher, right? That's the only two ways I'm going to get into another NU buy. Whether, we either go higher and then I'll play off of this candle right here, or we come lower and I'll wait for a schematic in here to go higher. All right. Overall targets for me are going to be new highs, right? We had the reaccumulation here. You go up to the higher time frame and you can kind of see what's going on, right? Like if we go up to, let's just go to the daily, right? Here's your daily. All right. And let me just hide this. So what's going on? Well, we had an attempted distro, right? There's your creek, right? So price should have continued down. Instead, what do we have? We have a reaccumulation going on. So we had an accumulation down here into a reaccumulation into a reaccumulation. Why the heck wouldn't we go ahead and break this high and confirm a larger reaccumulation? Remember structure, right? Structure. What is the current structure on NU? We're bullish, right? We're bullish, right? Supply and demand. Who is in control right now? Buyers or sellers? For me, the answer is buyers, right? Demand is in control right now. And then cause and effect. Well, an accumulation causes, and it came into a reaccumulation, but then came into another reaccumulation. And what have we done? We've invalidated, right? We violated intraday structure. And ultimately, this is the target, right? This is where I potentially see us happening very quickly. Probably by the end of, I would say we're going to be there before end of June, but I'm pretty confident that we'll be there before the end of June. It was 80% of the 32-minute. Okay. Yeah. I didn't get into it. It definitely, let's see. No, what are you talking about? 80% of the 32-minute. Talking about this entry here? No, yeah. Huh? You talking about this one here? Yeah, I don't know which one you're talking about. It was the 8-minute. 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 Yeah, I still don't see an 8-minute. Yeah. No, this is your schematic. Like I said, it came out of the reaccumulation. And again, why was this reaccumulation so important? Because this is the slingshot that caused the break outside of this schematic. But yeah, no worries. We'll deal with it. So yeah, that was the only entry I saw. Nothing else has really shown me any reason to get back into NU. We've kind of just been staggering along. But again, the two things I'm going to be looking for, if this does turn into a reaccumulation, play it up to get up above this high. From there, I'll play out of this candle here. If not, trade lower, and I'll take a schematic out of it. Okay. Do you put your stop loss in profit? No, I put it at break even. Yeah. You can message me on IG. If you have me on Discord, it may be easier. I may get back to you quicker on Discord, but yeah, you can message me, man. So in a nutshell, that's pretty much what I'm holding. Like the order I'm holding from down here, I'm up over 100 some pips on it right now. It's at, I guess it came back down. I'm at 85. At one point I was at like 111 out of here. But I'm still holding it. I have no plans of closing this out. I did take one partial out of it already. I took a partial at 72,500. The next area that I'm going to partial out is when we get up to this high. So 7,300 is where my next take profit is. Okay. And then we'll go from there, right? Another thing to point out, right, on NU, remember I talked about cause and effect, right? So everyone should be able to see the distro here into a redistro here, okay? Into another redistro here. So we have an accumulation. The accumulation mitigates out of the shakeout. We have a reaccumulation, then that what? Invalidates supply here. Taps in to this redistro, but this redistro is unable to break any structure. Come back up into the same area, unable to break any structure, right? These distros have failed to break any structure. So for me, this tells me weak sellers, strong buyers coming in, especially when we see this, right? Like just look at what are the facts? The facts are we are making lower highs, right? We are making lower highs. So that's the important thing to see. Okay. What's the logic behind having multiple XXX USD tradings running? Because they all have different charts. So yeah, I mean, why wouldn't I? Yeah, I mean, if I trade the chart, yeah, you were taught to, all right. I mean, if that's the way you were taught, and that's if, listen, I'm not here to change your ways. You know, if you're taught and if you find that that's your best success, then do it. I mean, I can tell you that my journal has told me, you know, and my monthly P&L statements told me that I'm good to take a buy out of NU and a buy out of EU and a buy out of AU at the same time, as long as the charts support that, you know. So yeah, it's all about risk tolerance, you know. If I lost all three of those trades, I'm only down 0.75%. So can I zoom in on the second entry? Zoom in on this one down here, Matt? No, there wasn't a fractal, bro. No, it hit and left, bro. It hit and left. Yeah. So down in here, hold on. I mean, maybe like on the 1 minute you can kind of see, but the timing was just off. So yeah. So this happened at like 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Yeah. So had it not been for this stuff here, then you would have had a decent type 1, but there was just a lot of manipulation going on. Like I don't know what caused this massive spike right here, but that was a 20 pip spike. So for me, I wouldn't have taken an entry off that. Yeah. What is the fib on? What fib? Yeah, what fib are you talking about? Looking to the left, I see 50 and 8. This down here, it's off that 15-second candle. Yeah, 15-second candle. It's 50 right here. 50% of the 15-second candle, bro. Yeah. What broker do I use? I use a couple of them. Yeah. For my personal account, I use Awanda because it's a US broker. So, is there a reason you don't put your stop loss in profit ever? Because I take partials. Yeah, I take partials. So if I didn't take partials, I'd move my stop loss in profit, but I take partials. Do I need price to breathe? No, I don't need price to breathe. Awesome. Yeah, good. Awesome. I'm glad, man. All good, bro. All good. All right. So that's pretty much everything I'm holding, man. Let's dive into. So EA is not going to be a pending anymore because EA's done. EA's kind of left for me. I was looking for EA down here, but just never came back. Do you do 50% of the spring? Yeah. I do 50% of the spring. Yep. Yeah. 50% of the spring. Yeah. EU was nice today. What did you catch on EU today? Because I didn't catch anything. I was looking for the sell, but never got it. On the 5. Oh, okay. So you took it out of the reaccumulation. Yeah. Good job, man. Good job. Yeah. I was waiting. I wanted the schematic in there, and honestly, this happened when I was off the chart. So, but yeah, it was a good play. I was looking for the buy out of it. You know, it's just this was the slingshot. This is the slingshot area. So I require a schematic, and I didn't get it on the lower time frame like I wanted. But yeah, good job, man. Let's see. Do you have a video where you explain why? No, I don't have a video, man. Nope. That's just something that took me a long time to develop 50 and 80%. So the one thing I can tell you is if you want to learn about it, backtest it. Backtest 50 and 80 because that's what I did. It took me about 2,500 charts to realize 50 and 80 of the most voluminous candle. So what do I think about GU? I'm bullish on GU. How do you determine what time frame schematic you expect price to come back to? I don't. The time frame schematic it doesn't matter to me, because what's the difference between a 1 minute and a 5 minute accumulation? On the 1 minute, the candles are bigger. That's about it. It's still a schematic, right? What's the difference between a 30-minute schematic and a 1 minute schematic? Nothing. It's just the 1 minute. The candles, instead of it being something like this on the 30-minute, right? It's this on the 1 minute, right? It's the same schematic. So I just look for a lower time frame, because I'm going to get I'm going to get a 1 minute schematic before I get a 30-minute schematic, right? Same thing. I'll get a 30-second schematic before I get a 5-minute. So I'll play it. If the 1 minute schematic doesn't turn into a 1 minute schematic, but maybe, I'm at like a 15-minute change of character potentially. All right, then I know it's a 15-minute schematic. I know I've got anywhere from 6 to 9 hours to wait. If it's a 1 minute schematic, I know I'm going to get a confirmation within an hour and a half to 2 hours. If it's a 1 hour schematic, I know it's going to take me a week to get confirmation on it. So just knowing, like, I have to start at the bottom, right? I have to get to a lower time frame first, and if I don't see what I like, then I start working my way back up. Yeah. Can you look at UCAD? Sure. Yeah, we can look at UCAD. You went for a sell to buy. Well, the sell was good, I think. I don't know. I haven't looked at UCAD. My alarm hasn't gone off on UCAD for a very long time. So the bigger the accumulation, the bigger the move, says Ruben in his book. Okay. Yeah. I mean, what's my argument against that? No, I mean, just it's common sense, right? Institutions are filling orders in a schematic. If that schematic is big, they just filled a crap ton of orders, right? Crap ton of orders means what? A crap ton of money. So yeah, I mean, that's, if they're investing a lot of money, it's got to go up. So yeah. Let's see. I got it now. Yeah. The most volume. Yep. That's how like you see me jump on these crazy timeframes, like 277-minute candle or the 46-minute candle. It's because I'm looking for the most voluminous candle. So yeah, exactly, bro. Matt, you got it right. Big cause, big effect, right? Again, that's why and I know I'm going on a little tangent here, right? But that's why when everybody was talking about dollar index and this little, right? When everybody was talking about dollar index and this little type 1 schematic, right? This little itty bitty type 1 schematic, they forgot to look at this massive redistribution, right? So what do we know about this? This is where a lot of sell orders came in, right? Massive amount of sell orders to cause the next leg down, right? So absolutely. I mean, I agree with it. The bigger the schematic, the bigger the push. Absolutely. That's why, like, if you can find a daily schematic, you're going to be able to ride shorts or longs on it for a while, so absolutely. Let's see. Yeah. I mean, we'll get to UCAD. I personally don't have anything on UCAD that I want to play with right now. Like it's just, yeah. Yeah. I mean, we'll get into UCAD. I mean, I'll tell you right now, like, this is where I'm selling from. This is the only place I'm selling from up here. Right? That's the only place I'm selling from. I'm not selling. This is all noise. All noise, right? We had a low that got broken. Here's our low. We got a pullback. And this is all noise until we make a new low. All this, as far as I'm concerned, like, we can just throw the Asian freaking hideout tool on it. Like, this is all we got right here. There you go. That's all I care about, I'm looking for a sell here. I mean, listen, the pending order is never going to happen, bro. The pending order is a long way away. I don't see us coming back up there, but I'm not looking to buy this at all. Like, I don't know where, I don't know where you want to buy this from. But for me, there's no buy in sight. I mean, you just go to the daily time frame And I mean, you could see where I have bye at. Like if we break below this schematic here, this accumulation, it's bye UCAD, because we're coming down into this reaccumulation here. This reaccumulation, that's where we're coming. We're coming for like $1.08. And I just don't know. I mean, I would like to say that I think we're going to be able to sustain this, maybe get a bounce off of this. And I'm really, really hoping, like if I'm, to be honest, like I'm really hoping that that does give a bounce, so that maybe, right, maybe price can push up into this area where I can sell it down and hold for a longer term, but that's kind of how I'm looking at it. Wait, let's see. BTC has a daily schematic. Yeah. Just remember though, a daily schematic. Well, okay. Here's my thoughts on BTC. All right. My thoughts on BTC is, are we due for a correction? Absolutely. What happens on BTC when you jump the creek and you break the high? It turns into a reaccumulation. So trade the distro, react to the reaccumulation. Am I getting rid of my investments in Bitcoin? Absolutely not. I'm not looking for what's happening tomorrow or next month. I'm looking what's happening, 5 years from now. So, if we make a new low, it becomes the SC. So yeah. Like if we, absolutely. Yeah, bro. Yeah. I mean, we're getting pretty close to this area. So if we do make this new low, right, I honestly, I think I'm just going to let UCAD play itself out, and I will kind of figure out what I'm going to do afterwards. Like I'm not going to try to, if we come into this area here, I'm definitely not buying it, right? We've tried that, right? We tried that all in here and we just got a bunch of break evens. So I'm not counter trending it. And I'm really not going to try to sell it if we are going to get a reaction and maybe get an intraday break to get back up into the highs up here. So for me, UCAD's pretty simple. Like we're either going to come here now or we're not, and I'm just done with it. Yeah, bro, it is the loneliest pending order ever, bro. That thing's been pending for a very long time. So, I reading Ruben's book. Do you have any suggestions on what steps to take, like back testing schematics? Yeah, I mean, like first thing I would do is I would draw out what confirmations you need for a schematic, but then just go back and find them. My advice, like if you see people posting a schematic from last week, go back and find it. If the schematic was, from yesterday, go to replay mode, go to yesterday. You already kind of know at what time frame the schematic was. Mark it up, play it out as it goes, figure out where you're going to put your entry, your stop loss and stuff like that, and play it out. I mean, don't back testing really isn't that. I mean, I know it's well, I'll tell you this, it's very tedious. I mean, like when I do like a back testing session with some of the guys I trade with, I mean, one pair takes us what, like 2.5 hours. So, and that's one entry, like one entry, 1.5 entries. I mean, what was the last one we did? I think it was like GN, right? GBP NZD, I think was the last one we did. Maybe forex.com, right? No, what was it? FXCM. Maybe I deleted it. Yeah, I think I deleted it. Oh, there it is. Yeah. Here you go. So this, we did a back test last Thursday and we took 6 trades. So 6 trades took us almost 3 hours of back testing. And it was everything. So it was the middle of April up until I think we called it a night, like when we got up to, I think somewhere in here. So, I mean, all of this in here was just the back test that we did, multiple entries. And I mean, you could see everything we did, but yeah. I mean, it is tedious. I ain't gonna lie. So, um, yeah. No, back testing is very important. Can you go over Chef JPY after? I did already. Yeah, I did already. Where do you do the back test? I don't do back testing calls. It's just with people I personally trade with. So yeah. Listen, if I try to do a backtesting call with, everybody on here, that 3-hour normal call that we run through pretty quickly is going to be like a 12-hour call. And yeah, no, that just ain't going to happen. Okay. Silver's still in play for me. Obviously we made a high. This is still maintaining lower time frame structure, and we're just kind of walking ourselves down, right? At this point, I do not have this limit order. What I do have is I have an alert, and I will put the limit order back in if we get down here close to New York session, like between where equity open is at 9:30 a.m. Eastern. I'll put the limit order back in. If not, I'll just play off a schematic here. So yeah. No, it ain't. I'll tell you right now, it ain't gonna happen. Backtesting call ain't gonna happen. Yeah. Why don't I record it? Yeah, no. Yeah, that's something just for me and the guys I trade with. So unfortunately, sorry. Yeah, yeah. So silver is still on the play, right? From a intraday perspective, I mean, where silver is more bullish than gold, in my opinion. And you can kind of see, I mean, you can kind of see how we're pushing. We have made, right? And it's pretty simple. Like, why is this what's maintaining structure? Well, we had this push to that, right? So we've already invalidated the SC area. So I want to come down into here. So I personally have my alert. Like I said, I don't have the order pending anymore just because it's been a while. But I will put the order back in if we get down here during New York session. Honestly, I don't think we're going to get down there. I think this was the schematic right here, right? I think this was the SC. I think this was the ST. I think this was an ST. I think this was an STB. I think this was the spring. And at this point, if this is our low and this is our previous low, what I would need is I need us to break this high right here, right? And I'm just going to set an alert because I just saw this. I'll set an alert here. So if we break this high, then it's a matter of playing off of that. And where I'm going to play off of is we have a potential reaccumulation happening right here. So my first area, if this does break, my first area to look in is going to be right here. All right. So, but we do have a schematic here. It's just a matter of what do we do, right? The way I'm looking at it on silver, I'm going to be looking for one of two things. Yes, if we break this high, it qualifies this as the schematic, right? I really want to make a new high. Make a new high and now cause and effect. This area of demand has created a new high, right? This would maintain structure on the lower time frame, which is what I want, right? Look at the size of this accumulation. That's the key. Yeah. How does one gain the yeah, like it's just a group of guys that I've been mentoring, or my trading partners. That's pretty much it. Are there rules regarding the STB and it touching the trading range? What do you mean, Matt? Like, yeah, I mean, it just has to test demand, right? The most important thing is what happens afterwards, right? So, did this, and did this, did it test demand? And in my opinion, it did, right? How do we know? Because the reaction we got, right? What did, here, let's zoom in on it. Let's look at it, bro. Hold on. So no question, change of character, right? And then what do we get? We get price coming in for an ST. All right. What do we know about price afterwards in here, right? And you can kind of see it's a schematic in itself, right? This is probably a type 2 on maybe like the 5-minute or even the 1-minute. This type 2 causes a new high. Price comes back down into another secondary test, right? What does this do? Does it break the high? No, it doesn't. But this one does, right? This one breaks the high. So for me, this is the STB because then we get our spring. So at this point here, we're in phase C. All right. And the last secondary test is going to be secondary test in phase B. So that's how I look at it. For me, it's, you know, yeah, I'm with you. Would I have wanted it to push lower into this? Absolutely. You know, but just keep in mind, what do we have here? We have this really nice 15-minute candle. And well, what did we trade into that 15-minute candle on? Well, we traded back into 50%. So for all intents and purposes, this candle has been mitigated from whatever it did out of here. And this candle was what? The Asian session, bro. That's what that was. And then coming out of this type 2 schematic, what did it do? Did it mitigate and cause a new high? Yeah. And ultimately we get that push down during New York session to sweep all that liquidity, creating a spring. So yeah, in theory, Matt, I agree with you. I like price to trade low into our demand area, right? And had we not created highs out of it, I would have invalidated them, right? But the fact that we were able to have a cause and effect, we were able to create new highs out of them, shows me a willingness from buyers. Like when buyers came in here and in here, they were able to cause new highs, right? So that's showing me the intent. All right. Let's see. Why would you look at that area instead of the spring? You mean this area instead of this area? Is that what you're talking about? So the test is yet to happen. I mean, it all depends. Like, the test could have happened already. Yeah. I mean, it could have. I honestly, I'm not going to make up a bias or make up my mind on whether or not the test happened yet. But what I do know is this is a spring. And I know that this is a reaccumulation, right? So coming out of the reaccumulation, the first area that I want to look at is if we do in actuality break structure, what was the cause? What was the first reason or the main cause of that break of structure? And it's out of this reaccumulation. So this is the first area that I would be looking at for an entry. Yeah. Is there a reaccumulation on the spring? Is there a reaccumulation on the spring? Huh? Can you? Yeah. Listen, I'll take a look at GU. Drop your chart. Well, I mean, I don't. I'll take a look at GU when I get to it. We're going to go in alphabetical order, but I mean, I'm not looking to take a trade right now. I mean, this is prime time Asian session. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, is that what you're asking? Like this reaccumulation here? Is that what you're talking about? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I mean, listen, I haven't looked into, shoot, what candle would this be? Let's look. 120, 120. Let's go 240, 240, 239, 235, 200, 199, 195, 225. No. All right. Let's see. It's got to be in here somewhere. We got to go lower. 180s. Yeah, I'll have to look for this candle to see if it's worth, like if it truly is mitigated or not. Yeah, no, we're in the 180s, 190s, somewhere in there. Let's see. Ooh, we're getting close. 193. Let's see if 194 is better. No, 195. Yeah, 193 is probably where it's at. 193. So on that 193, let's just see. So 50% of the 193 is smack dab in the middle of our reaccumulation. So if price ends up breaking that high, coming back to this 50%, it mitigates the spring, also mitigates the reaccumulation. So yeah, I'm just going to mark this just in case I forget. 50% of 193. Yeah, I'll play around with silver later on. 165. Ooh, yeah, bro. 165 looks good, bro. 165. Let's just see where that marks up. Yeah, it's damn near close to where it was at. Hold on. Let's see. 165. Yeah, I like that candle. I like that candle. Yeah, I like that candle, man. Good job with that. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, still, it's, like I said, we break the high, we come back and mitigate 50% of the candle. Guess what? We've also mitigated the reaccumulation, you know? So yeah, we don't need to come all the way down here. I mean, there was a lot of volume in that candle right there. So, um, yeah. So those are, I mean, going back, I know we went off topic, but going back, I mean, that's the two ways I'm going to get into silver. It looks like if this ends up breaking at least this high, then this is the schematic right here, right? And then ultimately this is the reaccumulation in here. So, it's just a matter of waiting on that. No, I wish. Is that the fib you're using for is that the fib? 50 and 80. Yeah. Yep. Yeah. The 240 looks nice. Hold on, bro. I don't know. I looked at the 240. No, it's not the 240. Yeah. The other one's definitely way better. How do you manage so many trades at the same time, and how many orders do you have in your MT4 on average orders? Oh man, I could have, I don't know, like there's some, well, shoot, I think at the most at one point I had almost 30 orders pending, but they were all from just all over the place, various time frames. Why don't you need to come back to this? Why don't we need, it would come back to the spring. That would come back to the spring. That'd come back to 50% of it. Yeah. That candle was fat like Beyond Meat Burger. Yeah. Good one, bro. Good one. So yeah. Now moving on to gold, right? Do you invert the fib for sells and have the 80? What? Do I invert? Huh? Wait a minute, Matt. What? You got me confused here, bro. So just always think about this, right? This is representing 80% of this candle. This is representing 50%. So for a buy, we would want price to come into 80 or 50% of the candle, right? If you're looking for the sell, right? Like say we wanted to play off of, I don't know, say we wanted to play off of this buy candle, right? 80% of that candle would be here, 50% would be here. So yeah. Yeah, 80 is going to be the tighter entry, but just, keep in mind that we may not need to go to 80. I mean, the agenda would be there, right? Like, I mean, we got equal lows. So if they need to fill some more orders, ideally, this is what I could see happening. If we break this high, but do not break this high, right? I could see us coming down, sweeping these lows, right? Invalidating this, coming into 80%, and then playing up. That could be a potential. Absolutely. So yeah. Okay. Yeah. You got it, bro. You got it. Okay, cool. So gold's the same play, man. I know a lot of people were looking for sells on gold. I honestly don't know why. We had a really nice reaccumulation. It just sucked that the stop loss was a freaking mofo, man. This stop loss would have been 99 pips, and that's just not going to fly with me. But it came into the 277-minute candle perfectly, right? 277 was right here. Came in, tapped the 50% beautifully. But just, I saw it, nothing I can do about it. I wasn't going to take that trade out of it. And then what do we just do? We just continued bullish order flow, right? You could see the reaccumulation here. So I did have an alert here after we broke this high this morning. If we came back and gave an accumulation, I was going to take this higher. So I mean, and that's still kind of the case, from a lower time frame perspective. This is what's maintaining the test of the spring, right? Of the shakeout is ultimately what's maintaining lower time frame structure at this point. We've ultimately made this leg to this leg to this leg, right? So this is the slingshot, the reaccumulation that caused it. So if we come back down and give a schematic, I'll take it. If not, I really don't. I've looked in all of this and it's all pretty clean. I would need to see if we do trade below these equal lows, I would need to see some sort of schematic down here. I mean, that's how I would play it, you know. Um, yeah, that's ultimately where I'm going to play, but I'm still looking for bullishness on gold. Now, if we do violate lower time frame, then I'll be happy as crap because I want it to come down into this stupid thing right here, man. This is an order I've been waiting on for a very long time. Back middle of May is when I set it. So, nothing's changed the last 2 weeks. I've been talking about that order. That's where I'm, going. Go over GA. Yeah, we'll get to GA, man. We'll get to GA. Yeah. There needs to be confluence to take. Yeah. For me, it's all about which has more confluence, right? Just remember, if you're right about the candle that needs mitigation, price 100% of the time is going to come to the open of that candle. You don't know how often it's going to come to the 50 or the 80. So for me, I always try to go to the 50 first, but if the 80 just has more confluence, then the better, that's how I play it. So gold, I'm still bullish on gold, right? Long term, I've been calling, listen, I called about us coming into the weekly candle way back in end of the year. I'm telling you right now, we're coming for this distribution right here at 1950s. All right, we're coming for that. We've invalidated all this supply already. We've broken the intraday leg, and you could kind of see what we've done. Listen, I don't know who's still holding this. I gotta message Kevin. I gotta see if he's still holding this, man, because this may be, if he's still holding this may be the biggest trade of his life, bro. Because this has got to be, what are we sitting at right now? It's sitting at a 1 to, is that 206? Yeah, 1 to 206 is that gold buy that we were looking at way back when. So, and there was no reason to get out of it. All right, man, have a good one, bro. Yeah. All right, so let's get into the primary watch list, man. Let's take a look at this. So AJ, I am looking for buys. I know somebody mentioned AJ. I am looking for buys. I will tell you that this order is pending. I do have a limit order off of that accumulation down there because this is the extreme of the leg right there, right? We are a ways from it. It is what it is, but at least I know I have the order there and I'm not going to sleep on it. Currently, what we're seeing is we had a reaccumulation that caused the break of the higher time frame leg. So essentially, this is our slingshot. Out of the slingshot, what are we seeing? Well, we have really nice compression, price walking itself down, and we did have an accumulation, right? We did have an accumulation into a reaccumulation, right? Here is the accumulation we saw. I think it was yesterday, right? Yeah, this is the accumulation we saw yesterday. I was really hoping to get price to come back and mitigate out of this, and we have yet to do that. It's still possible. We did have the boof, right? We did trade above this right here. So we have broken order flow. So at this point, I really want to see if we can get back down into this area here, right? Get a schematic with the tight entry that I can take this higher. All right. For me, it's not a limit order just because we're not on anything higher time frame. This is all lower time frame stuff. So, if I can see a schematic in this area here, ultimately when price drops into like the low 84s, that's when I'll get down on the 5 minute. Realistically, I could see it on the 15, but I'll get down to the 5 minute. If I see a 1 minute schematic, I'll start planning, I'll start seeing if I can get a reason to buy off the 1 minute. All right. But I am bullish on AJ. You know, from a higher time frame perspective, I mean, it's been taking a while, but we finally have made that leg high. We're in the slingshot that created that, and you can see we've broken the order flow. All right, so I am looking for buys out of it, but I'm also cognizant that we can come down into the extreme of this leg. All right, so AJ, that's what I'm looking on AJ. All right, so let's get a CAD-J, because I know a lot of people were looking at CAD-J. A lot of people looking at CAD-J. All right, so you're looking for a sell out of here, right? I guess my only question is why? Why is everybody looking for sells on CAD-J is my question. The markup is good. I like the markup, right? Nothing wrong with the markup. And let me walk you through how I see CAD-J. All right, let's get to like a 30-minute. Actually, here, we'll start with this. We'll go to the 30-minute. Let's go 30-minute. All right, so higher time frame, we don't even have to look at it, right? We know we're bullish, right? I mean, just look at the daily. All right, look at the daily, massively bullish, right? Massively bullish. All right, I pour a shot for all the poor souls that when we broke this intraday, wanted to sell CAD-J out of here, you know, because that was a big old fat stop loss hit, right? Now if we are in an area, we are in the area right now of the 3-day candle, right? And this is like the line in the sand. If CAD-J trades above here, I mean, just look at what is above it, where CAD-J is going to be going for a very long time up into this area here, right? Because this on its own was a distribution. So we take out this and we're coming for that. All right. But let's take a look at CAD-J, right? Remember what I talked about, right? I talked about structure. I talk about supply and demand, and I talk about cause and effect. All right. So I do have the distro marked out, right? You can see the distro climax to a test to an up thrust. The up thrust did break structure, right? It did break structure and exit the trading range, right? We did see that. And I would say that up until here, at this point in time, I would agree with you, right? I would agree with everybody here. Let's try to sell CAD-J. Well, now let's look at what actually happened, right? So structure-wise, higher time frame, we're bullish. All we've done is just broken the lower time frame here, right? This is all that is the lower time frame break. Intraday is still bullish. Higher time frame still bullish. All right. We had, and I know because this is where I took a loss, right? I took a loss out of. I took a loss. What was it, like on 15-second, I think? Yeah, I was trying to buy out of this accumulation up here. Ended up taking a loss out of it. But we have this accumulation here turned redistro, right? We have an accumulation turned redistro. And more importantly, you go to the 2-hour. This 80% of the 2-hour candle is also the 1 minute 8:30 New York Open candle, right? It's the open of that. So it's a very good area to really kind of watch. So let's just look at the facts that we know. All right. So we had a type 2 schematic that broke lower time frame structure and confirmed the type 2, right? From there, the slingshot is what we get a distribution, right? Can everyone see the distribution right here? Right? Everyone sees that distribution. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to just show you guys everything I see, right? I see a distro. I see a distro. I see a distro. Right? Okay. And then potentially a distro here. But let's look at this. So we had a distro that was invalidated by this distro here that mitigated the slingshot area. Okay. Was that distro, did this distro create a new low? The answer is no. We then have this distro that is unable to break this low. We then have this distro that what is unable to make this low. We then have this distro that invalidates this distro and is at this point unable to make a new low, right? So I'll ask you guys this question. What's the current order flow on the lower time frame? Is the order flow bullish or is it bearish? It's bullish, right? There you go, bro. The distros did nothing. So let me ask you this question, right? When you look at this chart right here, when we look at this chart, who is in control, buyers or sellers? Buyers are in control. Absolutely. Buyers are in control, right? Don't get caught up in the fact that you're seeing distribution, right? Don't get caught up in saying distribution, 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 distribution. Don't get caught up in that. Get caught up on this, right? So let me ask you, you have a type 2 schematic that is confirmed, but now you have massive bullish order flow with invalidations to supply over and over and over. You have a, hold on, let me mark that out better. You have a creek, right? You have a creek, okay? I mean, I'm not going to put a wager on it, but I'm pretty confident that we're going to do this. And a jump across the creek plus a break of structure equals a reaccumulation. You know? So each point of contact on the low side. Yep, exactly. Look at exactly what Matt said, right? We have a huge area of redistribution, comes down immediately, demand takes over. And I didn't point this out because I didn't want to get, oh, hold on. I didn't want to get too crazy. Hold on, guys, my bad. I didn't want to get too crazy with it, but this is a schematic. This is a schematic. This is a schematic. This is a schematic, right? I mean, we can go lower time frame. You could see them, but just know that who is doing what? Accumulations, demand are creating breaks of order flow. Distros, crap. Demand, break of order flow, new high. Supply, crap. Demand, new break of order flow. Supply, crap, right? New demand ultimately takes out this supply. So who is in control, right? Who is ultimately in control of this? You know? Yep, exactly. Exactly. Yeah. You know? So, I mean, I see the reason why everyone's looking for sells, but don't let your eyes deceive you, right? Deal in facts, right? Structure is bullish, right? Structure is bullish. Supply and demand, who's in control? Demand is in control, right? Without a doubt, demand is in control. All right. And then cause and effect. Who is actually winning the battle? Buyers or sellers, you know? Cause and effect. I mean, each demand point is creating new highs. So that's why, I mean, CAD-J is very interesting. I said at the beginning of the week to the guys I trade with, and I had this long conversation with Zach too, Zach McDonald. I was like, CAD-J is very interesting because I'm eager to see how this plays out. Because the way I see it, I see us bullish. I see us going higher. You know, now I do have this alert, right? When we were here, you know, obviously I didn't take this entry. I saw it. I had my booth right here and I was waiting for us to break the order flow. And then I potentially was going to be looking for a sell, right? But at this point right now, I need this to get broken, right? I need us to do this and then I'll start looking for sells. You know, that's the only thing I'm going to be looking for. So, yeah, exactly. There you go, bro. It looks bullish. Yeah, absolutely. Do I have a Telegram? No, I don't have a Telegram channel, bro. Sorry, man. Sorry. Yeah. Let's see. US 30. We'll get to US 30. Yeah, we'll get up to US 30. I know what time frame do you mark? What time frame do I mark out my legs? So I don't like to put an actual time frame on them, right? What I like to do is me personally, I have 3 time frames that I care about. A higher time frame, which is typically maybe the daily up to the weekly. I have an intraday. Hold on, bear with me, the dogs. I have an intraday, which is, like a 30-minute to the 4 hour. And then I have a lower time frame, everything down below that, because there's no difference for me, right? There's no difference between the 1 minute and the 15-minute leg. It's the same leg, So yeah. But that's kind of my piece with CADJ, I hope, because I know a lot of people that are in cells. I hope it works out. I hope you get the break of this low. I honestly, I personally think we're going to go higher. I mean, that's how I see it. Did I go over GBP pairs? No. It's right here. Alphabetical, bro. Yeah. Yeah. So, but that's CADJ, right? That's CADJ for me. Ideally, like I said, there's only 2 ways for me to get into a trade. If we break this low down here, then I'll start looking for sells. Ideally, break this high, and then I'm looking for buys out of this massive reaccumulation. Okay. And like I said, I mean, we are in a distro, right? We are still in the distro. We've jumped the creek. We just now need the break of structure. And, from a structure point of view, if this was the low, right, this is the previous high, that means that I need us to break above here to validate that as a reaccumulation, right? I mean, we've already had, this was the creek right here. So, and like I said, I mean, we're just making higher highs. So it is what it is. All right. So moving on, EuroCAD. So I was looking at EuroCAD, and I'll be honest, it's not like my favorite thing on the top of the list for me to do anything with. It just so happens a bunch of people were asking me about EuroCAD. I took a look at it. We did break intraday structure right here. All right. I was looking for us to come into the slingshot area. It looks like it did give us a schematic. I guess, yeah, it did actually give us a schematic. When was this? The 21st. So Friday. Yeah, I wasn't trading Friday. Yeah, you could see there was, so this would be a decent thing. If for those of you asking about back testing, here you go. There's your back test. Back test this schematic right here. That was your entry. That was your entry. So, and I would find the most voluminous candle, I mean, play around with it, but I would find the most voluminous candle. Yeah, I'll let you guys figure it out. But yeah, find the most voluminous candle. I guarantee you'll find it. I'm pretty confident that this came into 50% of the voluminous candle. And then, from there, it's kind of a wait and see game now, right? We've moved away. So at this point, I want a new high. For EuroCAD, for me to continue to buy, I need a new high, which will make this what's maintaining lower time frame structure, right? So and then I'll reset from there. All right. But again, it's not the most ideal setup for me. The play was out of here, right? The play was right there. So yeah. All right, cool. All right, cool. So EN, talk about EN as well, because there's some New Zealand news coming out tonight. EN, nothing has changed from last week, right? And this was an example as well. Like I talked about it last week and the week before with EN. So we had the break of structure right here. This was the leg, right? We broke it. What caused the break? This massive reaccumulation. We had a distribution. Distribution pushes a low. We have another distribution. That distribution couldn't even trade below the previous distribution low. So distros did nothing, right? We then have a schematic, right? We then have a schematic that pushes into a lower time frame reaccumulation that ultimately caused the break. And what do? we have an accumulation that then makes a break of structure. So for me, there was never a thought of trying to sell this, right? And like right now, what do we see? Well, we have, let's get down to like a 30-minute. What do we see? We have a, let's go 15. There we go. All right. So what do we see? We have our high. All right. And then we created a new high up here. This is what's maintaining lower time frame. All right. I think I was looking for a buy out of here. For some reason, I guess I didn't take it. I don't know why, but it made sense, right? This is the reaccumulation that, you know what? That's what it was. That's what it was. I was waiting for this high to get taken and we never did. All we did was break the order flow. So when we came in here, I saw the accumulation. I was going to take the entry. I think it missed me by like a couple of pipettes. And then we forced a new high. So at this point here, yeah, it looks like a distro, right? I'm not trying to sell this thing though. I'm going to wait to see us to get back into potentially this area here or this accumulation area here. And I'll wait for the schematic, right? I'll wait for the schematic to go higher. And again, you know, we're on the lower time frame. So at that point, I'm going to be looking lower time frame once we get down in this area, you know? Yeah. Yep. Yeah. EN and EA pretty similar, you know? So, you know, and again, you know, could we come lower? Absolutely. Right. Could we come lower? Absolutely. This isn't the lower time frame anymore. So don't worry about that. You know, but from an intraday leg, right? From an intraday leg, this is our intraday leg now, right? So could we come down into the extreme? Yeah, you betcha, man. You betcha. We had a really nice type 1 schematic in there. All right. All right. So that's EN. Let's talk about GA, right? Let's talk about GA. So GA, right? GA. Long story short, like GA for me, still bullish. Like if we look on the intraday side of it, I really wanted something down in here and we just never got it, right? We never got it. We never got my extreme, you know, this has just been frustrating as hell for me because not that I really was looking to trade a lot of GA. It's just, you know, I did a lot of work on GA at the beginning of the year and I really just wanted to continue with it. And it just hasn't been giving it to me. So what do I see now out of GA? Well, you know, realistically, this is still on the table because this is still the intraday leg, but we're bullish from the lower time frame. So we got to play what's happening on the lower time frame. You know, this was it this morning. Yeah, this morning during New York session, we actually came in and we came in really nicely to this type 1 accumulation. All right. I did not have an entry set off of this because I don't take limits off lower time frame, you know, lower time frame entries. Now, had this been a quick schematic, I would have taken it, but I'm not going to take that entry there. What I did try was I was looking for a re-entry after we saw some really nice confirmations. All right. We had a type 5 accumulation, right? Here's your type 5. All right. And out of the type 5, we just had a series of reaccumulations, right? Reaccumulation ends up getting another reaccumulation. We finally break the high. So as soon as we broke that high, my entry was based off the 1 minute open. You know, it was like a 3.8 pip stop. We just never got that back. So, you know, at that point, once we broke this high here, you know, I was kind of done with trying to take this trade here, but I'm still in favor of taking the buys on it. And you can kind of see, maybe on the 5 minute, let's see. Yeah. So you can kind of see what's at play here. This, right? This is the order flow push from here to here. So if we break that order flow push, say we do it like that, this becomes the slingshot. So a return to this area, I'll take it higher with the schematic, or we come back down into that original area that I was looking at. All right. I'm not too concerned about this madness right here. Yeah, to me, it's not very, like, I'm not interested in trying to sell this. All right. To me, this is just going to be invalidated like every other distro before it is going to be invalidated. right? So I'm not interested in trying to sell it. I'm still targeting 1.85, right? We have made a new high. Could I potentially see a pullback? Absolutely. I would love a pullback because I want to buy it from lower. So if you get a type 5, would you wait for the price to react off the type 5 and give you a type 1? Or yeah, no, I don't trade type 5s, bro. Type 5s are stupid. Like the stop loss would be ridiculous. So yeah. But you trade it just like a type 2, 3 drives, wait for the sign of strength. So yeah, I don't set limit orders off of lower time frame entries. I only do it off intraday or higher time frame. Yeah. I mean, that's just me. My journals told me not to do that. So, um, I listen to what my journal tells me. But yeah, I mean, GA, look at the intraday time frame. Who's in control? Buyers or sellers? Buyers, right? I'm not going to look for a sell out of this when I see reaccumulation after reaccumulation after reaccumulation after accumulation after accumulation after an accumulation into a reaccumulation after a reaccumulation. I'm not, yeah, that's 185. That's my target right now, 185. Where can I find the types of schematics? Just Google retail trading patterns. Yeah. Retail trading patterns. And those are all your schematics. Yeah, I'm sure you've seen them. Yeah, right here. These are all your schematics. Yeah, these are all of your schematics, right? So, yeah. I mean, I'll save you some time. It's either a type 1 or it's not, right? For me, it's you mark it, it's all marked up the same way. I'll tell you right now, I don't waste my time trading a lot of the other ones. And if you're looking for the exact like markings and how they are, I'll tell you, be ready for a pretty dollar to pay, because a lot of educational sources charge buku money to learn like specifically all of the types, right? Like I said before, 8 types of accumulation, 7 of distro, 4 of reaccumulation, 4 of redistro. So, I mean, I know I paid a pretty penny to learn all of them, and I can tell you, I mean, well, I paid a pretty penny for the total package, but I don't bother. I don't concern myself trying to trade a lot of the other stuff. Like a type 3 reaccumulation. I've seen it once in a year and a half. It was on UCAD months ago. And even then, it was a great trade, but I could have played it just off a simple accumulation. Yeah. Yeah. Matt knows, man. Matt knows. Matt Matt took one of those courses. So yeah. It's not, in my opinion, I mean, it depends. Like, it could be worth it depending on the instructor and the education. So, but yeah. Well, summer 10K. Absolutely. I mean, that's what I paid. So yeah. Summer 10. I'll tell you right now, there's some that require a year-long membership, and it could be upwards of like $50,000. So yeah. So yeah, it is like, especially in the stock world. Yeah. So, cause and effect. Number 3 is cause and effect, man. Yeah. Structure, supply and demand, cause and effect, and you'll always ask yourself, what did that do? So, so moving on GA, like I said, I am, for this, for the short term, if we are able to push in a new high, my first point of interest is going to be right here in this reaccumulation that looks like it's forming, right? And if we don't push in a new high and we end up taking this low, then I'm actually pretty happy about it, because I'm waiting for it down here, right? Out of this reaccumulation or the intraday low. So, and that just means that I'll be able to catch a better R to R going up. All right. Yeah. thank my wife too, bro, because she gets on me when I'm on these calls too long. So you did ECAD. Let's see, bro. Let's see what you got. I did that. 50% of the 15. There you go, man. Yeah. Like you'll start train your eye because you'll be able to start to see exactly 50 and 80% of these moves, you know? So, and I would definitely, yeah. I would definitely, where's your, yeah. Good play, but that's your back test, you know? And then when you're back testing, make sure you're working in not only that, but you also had a reentry, right? So here's your attempted distribution. There's your one drive. Hold on, you got a blue screen. So let me make this red. So here's your accumulation. Here's your distribution, one drive, two drives. There's an accumulation here. This was accumulation on its own, probably on the seconds time frame that tapped in to this. So I would back test this to see where exactly this came into, you know. And then when you're back testing, make sure you play off of like your management of the trade, right? Like if you caught this entry here, you know, maybe this is the order flow that you're looking to take partials at. And then you're at break even off of this entry. When price comes into this, or actually, I may not even have gone to break even. I probably would have just reduced my risk to here so that I could take the entry out of here, there. Once you catch this entry here, maybe you're going to take partials when it comes up and takes there, you know, and just keep track of your partials. Keep track of all your of all your trades. You know, I mean, that's the best thing I think you could do for yourself when you're working these positions. All right. Like I said, I mean, when I back test, you can see I do, you know, every position. Where am I taking partials, the amount, like I keep track of everything. When I hit stop loss, I hit stop loss, you know, I keep track of all of this stuff. You know, what's my total risk to reward? You know, I total risk was $650, risk to reward 6 to 35.83, profits, you know, actually, I think I missed a number there because it was more than 35.83. Maybe it was 350 something because it was $17,000 is what we made out of that back test. 2 stop loss hit, 1 break even, 3 wins, and it total time in trade 11 days, almost 12 hours or almost 12 days. You know, so you wanna be able to really, when you're back testing, manage the trade. You know, you have the time, manage the trade. That's good. It's going to really get you to become a better, consistent trader. Is understanding where to partial out, how to partial out. You know, where your next entries are going to be. So yeah. What date was this entry? What on ECAD? Wait, on me. On ECAD. Hold on. I'll tell you right now, bro. It was right here. So the 21st. Yeah, 21st. 21st New York session. Yeah. When do you decide to take the last quarter? If I am hedging a position, right? So let me give you an example. All right, that's a good question, bro. Let me give you an example. So EJ, you know what, EJ, because I'm holding EJ long, right? Okay. So EJ, I still believe that we're going to come higher into this weekly, right? So let's pretend that we're in the weekly candle right now on EJ. Okay. And, you know, like I said, I'm in from way down here. Okay. I'm in from way down here. So EJ now creates, let's just say, a distribution here. Okay. When I get that entry here on EJ and I go to break even, and we now break, let's pretend that this is what's maintaining the intraday leg, and we break this leg. Typically what I'll do is I'll probably wait to get a second entry off of the sell. When I get that second entry and that second entry is at break even, then I close out on my buys from down here. That's it. The buys are done. Okay. That's how, now if I don't get into the sell and we break the intraday. So, you know, my rule is whatever time frame I took the entry off of, that's what I'm going to close out if we break it. So this was off the intraday. If we at this point, if we break at this point, if we break this area right here, right? If we break that area right here, that's it. I'm closing out on my buy, right? You know, I typically, once we break it, you know we got to pull back. Maybe I'll try to work an entry in to sell it down, but that's it. You know, that's it. So, yeah. Hopefully that answered it for you. Okay. Okay. So working back in on some pound pairs, right? Chef JPY, pretty simple. We've broken order flow. We made a new high, right? So at this point, I'm bullish. I was still bullish out of the extreme, but I'm still bullish on this. I do have an alert. Look for buys. I do have an alert. I will look for an accumulation in this area down here, right? I will. I'm going to move this down just a little bit. Okay. So I will look for an accumulation out of this accumulation right here. All right. No limit. I'm not going to set a limit order on it just because I've already looked, and the limit order that it would require is something like 15 pips. So I'm personally not going to do it. You can look at this 1 hour candle right here. That's where I'm looking. Okay. That's where I'm looking, but I'm going to wait for the schematic to get me in because I think I can get it to a tighter entry. All righty. But from a higher time frame, it's a simple play, right? We're bullish. We're bullish. This was the high, low. We pushed in a new high. We came into a really, really elongated schematic. We tapped into the extreme, which was like the 1 hour. Yeah, the 1 hour, all that stuff. I did not take this entry. I totally missed it. This was just a back test that we did. But yeah, I totally missed the extreme limit. It did go ahead and break order flow, right? So not only did we break structure, but we broke, and this was the break of the order flow. And then this is the structure point, the leg, and we broke that right here. So for me, I'm looking for the buys. Why wouldn't I? Because it'd be like a 15 pip stop loss for me. So, and that would eat up a lot of margin. So yeah. Yeah. So yeah, I'll tell you right now, when you're starting to deal with large accounts, you have to be aware of your margin. And I don't want to get into a trade where I have a 15 pip stop loss, meaning I'm making 0.25% for every 15 pips when I can get into an entry off the schematic and I would make 0.25% off of every 5 pips, right? Obviously, I'd make more R to R here than I would here. All right. So, and pound pairs for me on my broker, pound pairs require 5% margin per standard lot. You know, so if my margin's going to get eaten up on pound chef, it's got to be worth it. Otherwise, I'm stuck in a, like I said, I'm stuck in a pair that I'm making 0.25% every 15 pips. And potentially I could have got into GJ where I would have been making 0.25% every 3 pips, you know? So I ultimately kind of screwed myself. So that's why I do, that's how I set it up. Yeah. Yeah. I don't set limit orders on, so this is lower time frame, right? This is the lower time frame low. I don't set limit orders on lower time frame lows. I need a schematic, right? If this was the intraday low, absolutely, right? Intraday low, I'll take a schematic. I'll take a limit order. Higher time frame, if we come into the higher time frame extreme, I'm setting a limit order, right? But I'm not going to take it off the lower time frame. I'll wait for the schematic, or if we're currently, that is waiting for the schematic, but if we build, obviously if we build a schematic and we break structure, the limit order set, like I did this morning on GA, when we broke the high, I had the limit order set. All right. Yeah. Can you show the intraday low on the intraday low? Yeah. So currently it's this one right here, bro. Hold on. Oh, wait here. Currently it's this right here. Right here. This one right here. This is the intraday low until we make a new high. Yeah. I mean, 1 to 4, the 30 minutes could be the intraday. I mean, for me, it's just the leg, right? Like, like we looked at GA, right? So, you know, I could see it on the 1 hour. I can go to the 30-minute and still see the same leg, right? This is the leg, right? That's the leg. I can go to the 4 hour. It's the same leg. It's just understanding, from the 30-minute, I can see that this is the lower time frame leg. I could see that this is the intraday leg, and obviously the lower time frame leg is way, or the higher time frame leg is way the hell down there. So, yeah, yeah. I mean, it's whatever, however you're able to see it best. Obviously, like if you're having difficulty see it, jump up a time frame or two. If you need it, if you're on the 30-minute, you can't see it real nice, go up to the 4 hour. The 4 hours should be really easy to see, right? The intraday and the lower time frame. So, yeah, yeah. All right. GJ is another one that I got my eye on, right? So again, I'm not interested in trying to sell this. All right. I'm just going to be waiting. You could see where I'm waiting. Slingshot area, schematic here of the extreme. This right here is a limit order, right? If we get down there, that would be a limit order, because intraday, what are we doing? We're just making higher highs and higher lows. All right. From a lower time frame perspective, I mean, this is a mess, right? Nothing clean about this. I'm not interested in trying to sell it, but when we look at it, who's in control? Buyers or sellers? Because we're spending a lot of time up here, supposedly building orders, right? Filling in sell orders, but we have a reaccumulation that pushes a high. We have a low, a low, a low, and this is the new low, right? But what are we doing? Higher lows, higher lows. If we make a new high, all right, then this becomes the new higher low. So, yeah, I'm not interested in trying to fight this. This thing has been 14 days, I think it's what it's been. 15 days now. 15 days we've just been sideways, and there's really no clear direction. So I'm not going to try to guess. I'll just wait. If my alert goes off, guess what? I'll take a buy out of here to go higher. That's ultimately how I look at it. All right. So GJ, I'm still bullish on it. I'm still bullish, mad bullish on it. I'm just going to wait for us to come into the slingshot area that caused the break, or down here in this accumulation down here. All right. GN, kind of same thing. I know GN. So GN, we violated the slingshot. I'm waiting for it down here in this accumulation. I took Thursday and Friday, actually. I talked about this earlier, but Thursday and Friday were just massively awesome entries. Coming back into this slingshot that caused the break, we had a really, really clean, what was it, like, I think on the 1 minute maybe? No, yeah. We had a really clean entry. So what was it, like 15 second? Yeah, 15 second. So you could see what happened. This was Thursday, New York session, type 1 schematic confirmed, right? I was actually looking at the 14-minute candle. Hold on. Yeah. I was looking at the 4-minute, my bad. I was looking at the 4-minute candle, right? 4-minute candle. And, unfortunately, I didn't get it. What I did get, though, is I just followed what cause and effect was doing, right? We had a micro schematic here. We end up breaking, if this was the low, this is the previous low. So we broke. I was able to set a limit order off of this. When I started to see the reaccumulations happening, and more importantly, outside of that reaccumulation, what do we see? So go to the 5 second, and you'll see, I'll go back to the 15, it's a little cleaner. You'll see that we have a micro schematic right here. Climax, test, spring. What does that do? Comes back to mitigate the 50%. Now, there was no entry here because we didn't break the high, right? Comes back in to mitigate 50% of the, oh, what was it? I thought it was the 15 second. Maybe it was the 1 minute, but we mitigate out of this schematic. Oh, it was the 5 second. That's what it was. Yeah, that's what it was. 5 second candle, we mitigate 50% of it, right? And then from there, what do? Well, we make a new high. So what I ended up doing was I ended up splitting my risk. So I took an entry out of the 30-second candle, and I had a split risk. I put half of my order here with the stop loss here, the other half down here, stop loss here, because we could still come down, right? So I played this pretty nice. It was like I said, it was pretty good. It was off the 30-second open. Yeah, 30-second open right here. And I got filled, right? I got filled right in here. Obviously, you could see what happened, right? We have a really clean type 2 schematic, right? Really clean type 2 schematic. So it's telling me that they're filling orders, reaccumulation, distro into a reaccumulation, right? I wasn't able to take an entry out of this type 2 because we never broke the high, right? But once we broke the high, what candle caused the break? And it was this 15-second candle. So I personally took it off the 50%. I do think it came into 80. I do think, yeah, it came past the 80. So I ended up taking a second position here because both were now at break even. From there, I just managed the trade, essentially you could kind of see where I took my partials. So partials secured at the, at this break right here, it was a 1 to 12, 1 to 7. When we took out this high, it was a 1 to 32, 1 to 19. And then ultimately I took it all the way up to 97,700. Nice round whole number. And it was also, I'll just show you here. It was also when price came back into this area here and we broke and made the new high. That's what I wanted to do. So I took partials out of this. It was overall a 1 to 68 and a 1 to 43. So I took 3 partials. The fourth one broke even. And then coming back, this was Friday morning. I was out playing golf with my son actually when I saw this and sent it out to a couple people. We saw a really clean entry, right? Type 2 schematic, STB, broke the high, sign of strength. And this is where I looked at the 14-minute candle. So I had an entry at 50 and at 80%, right? 50 and 80 is where I had my order. Why did I have both? Well, because we had where the blue line is the 50. So I had an order here with the stop loss just below this wick. And if I got stopped out, I was going to have an entry off the 80, which is also where we had a type 1 schematic with the stop loss just below this low. So, it ended up doing its thing. I went reduced risk, and ultimately this was a 1 to like 20 where I secured half. The rest at break even. So yeah, you can see right here. So Friday, I ended up closing out Friday right around lunchtime. Secured when we got to that 197.70, secured 50%, 1 to 20 and a half, and then the rest hit break even when the market reopened. So, how long does it take for the trades to play out on the 5 second? Not too long. They're pretty quick. I would say 50. I'll tell you right now, the 5 second happened pretty quick, like 15, 20 minutes. There's a couple of times where like I literally, I can't get all my orders filled, because I'll be trading 3 accounts. But if you figure just looking at it from, if you saw this happen here and you're waiting on this entry, so from, reaccumulation. So we'll say that the distribution started here to where confirmation happened, took 7 minutes, 50 seconds. And for where entry occurred was 16 minutes. So yeah, US 30, we'll get to it. Yeah. So long story short, GN paid really nice for me. I made a really good percentage on Thursday and Friday with it, just with the partials. I am still looking, like I said, I am still looking for us to, you know what, I guess I can delete all this because this is old. Here we go. And let me delete this. That, All right, cool. So there's two plays that I'm looking at for GN. The first is obviously if we come down lower, right? Come down lower into here, into this area of demand. This is the lower time frame leg. I'll take it higher. If we don't and we break order flow, right? If we break order flow, I can already see the reaccumulation happening here. We have an attempted distro. Maybe we do this, break, come back to mitigate out of here, and then go higher. So those are the two ways I'm getting in for the buy. I'm not interested in trying to sell GN. This is, I'm just looking at it from the intraday side. We're massively bullish. Yes, we do have this distro here, but this distro creek, look at the size of the distro, the size of the accumulation, right? What did the distro do? This distro pushed in just a break of the intraday leg. That was it. But ultimately, buyers are still in control, right? Buyers are still holding on out of every, right? If we look at it, what are we getting? We had accumulation pushed in a new high, accumulation pushed in a new high, accumulation pushed in a new high, all right? We're still being maintained structure from this point right here. Until we either break this or make a new high, this is still what maintains structure. So for me, cause and effect, buyers are getting the job done. Sellers, all sellers are doing, yeah, that's a pretty distro. Yeah, it broke the small intraday leg. Higher time frame leg is still massively bullish, and order flow massively bullish. All right, so that's kind of how I'm treating GN. No, for a type 2. If it's not a type 1, I require a BOS and a sign of strength. Yeah, type 1 is the only thing I need to break a structure with. Yeah. And I mean, listen, you may take it differently. That's why, like, I would encourage backtest it. Backtest it, and what's your tolerance level? Because I mean, I know a lot of people that would take a type 2 way before I do. But I can tell you that, my most profitable schematic is a type 1. So I have no problem just waiting for the type 1. Type 2s are very subjective. Obviously type 2s happen more often than not, but for me, my journal tells me wait for the type 1 because that's what's going to reward me better, and that's what I'll wait for. All right. All right, moving on. GU. So, again, I'm bearish dollar, so I got to be bullish GU. From a lower time frame perspective, this is what's maintaining lower time frame right down here. This was that push up, right? We've got that push up, and actually, hold on. No, this has got to be updated. This is what maintains lower time frame right now. Hold on. This right here. I don't know why my drawings have changed. I know I did this the other day. So this is what's maintaining lower time frame. So I was looking for last week, I was looking for an accumulation out of here. This is the slingshot that caused the new high. Distro was invalidated. We got an accumulation, right? We saw an accumulation. I think it was like on the 15-minute. Yeah, it was off the 15-minute. So last week, I was looking for, yeah, this sucked. I'll tell you right now, this sucked. I was looking, it was off the 5-minute. Yeah, it was off the 5-minute, man. This is what I was looking at. Hold on. So I was looking at, where's GU? GU. Yeah, this is what I was looking on GU. So I was looking at two things on GU. I was looking at, we were at this point here, waiting for the high. If we broke the high, out of the slingshot, I needed an accumulation. If not, I was setting a limit off of this. It was like a, what was it, like I think a 7.6 pip stop. All right. I was going to take an entry out of this accumulation here. And I mean, it did it, right? We could see the accumulation we broke. We ended up breaking this high. So because we broke this high, this now maintained this as the lower time frame structure point. And it missed me by like half a pip. Yeah, it missed me by half a pip. This was entry, so a little more, almost a pip, almost a full pip. So obviously, once this reaction happened and we broke the order flow, entry was deleted. So this position was closed out, no entry. And you can kind of see what I was looking at this morning. I was looking to see if we were going to get a schematic here. I'm really not, it is a schematic. It's not the cleanest schematic, right? We do have a schematic here. I really would have liked this to push higher. It did come to 50% of the trading range. Like when you measure from here to here, this is 50%. So I'm not setting a limit order off of this. I do have an alert here. And, if we do come down, I will see if I can get a lower time frame schematic in between 50 and 80 here. So, but if not, I'm just going to wait for GU to make a new high. Yeah, hold on. Later, bro. Have a good one, man. Yeah. Yeah. So, this is typical Asian crap. We're just sideways, really no volume in the market. And ultimately, what have we done? Well, we came back and we mitigated out of this push right here. So that's ultimately what happened. And you could see, so from this high to, I got to look for the candle, but this ultimately created, that liquidity grab. So they came back and mitigated it. That's pretty much what it is. That's what this was for. So, I do want to see buys on GU during New York session. I'm going to kind of watch to see what we're at. If this ends up being a reaccumulation and we break this high, then this is going to be my first point of interest right here. And if not, I'll be looking at here. I'll tell you this, if we do break this high, I would potentially, I would be a whole lot happier if we do break this high here on looking for more buys, especially because of how Asian session is going to kind of just tear this thing apart. So, we did have an accumulation. You can see the accumulation here, right? Climax, test, spring, and then we broke. So that's ultimately what this was for. And I was trying to catch an entry this morning on GU, but just really didn't see anything I wanted to get into. So that's what I got for GU, right? Moving on, right? Any questions on GU? For me, it's pretty self-explanatory. We're just been massively bullish, working in, the distributions are failing, the reaccumulations and accumulations are creating new highs. So that's ultimately how I'm looking at it. Looking at the indices. So, we came back into the slingshot area that I wanted us to come into perfectly. I just didn't catch an entry. This happened, I think like a day I wasn't trading. From there, what have we done, right? Accumulation caused a new high. We came back, mitigated out of this accumulation, caused a new high. So, my thought was I was going to wait. You can see out of my alert here. I was waiting for an accumulation in either of these 2 points. NAS decided not to come back for me. So I'm still, the way I'm looking at it, this is still the leg, right? So, I'm not interested in trying to sell this. If you look at it, distribution turned reaccumulation, distribution turned pretty soon reaccumulation, the GU H4 doesn't speak to me. GU H4 distro. So what are we distroing out of? The question is, what are we distroing out of? Because we're bullish. So what are they distroing out of? This was the high. This was the previous high down here. This is what's maintaining a higher time frame structure. This doesn't tell me we're slowing down. This right here, yeah, I'm not interested in playing that at all. We're bullish. Now, if we had a weekly candle, if we had a monthly candle, if we had a 3-day candle, but what did cause and effect? What did this do? Nothing. This was the leg. It couldn't even break the leg. If this was important, if they were going to distribute out of this, they should have pushed below here and invalidated this reaccumulation. Yeah. So yeah, always ask yourself cause and effect. Why are they distribute? Why is there a distro? Why is there a distro right here? Right? Why is there a distro? And like, what makes this a distro is my question. Right? What makes it a distro? My first question would be this: do we have a sign of weakness? Because to me, I have no signs of weakness. What I do have is a low, a higher low, and a higher low. That's what I have. That's, to me, when price is doing this, that doesn't equal weakness. You know, because remember, in bullish conditions, it's not the highs that matter, it's the lows, right? It's the lows. So yeah, this to me is yeah, exactly, no man's land, exactly. GA, yeah, just go back. Yeah, I think you missed GA. Just rewind. You're on YouTube. Just rewind GA. You're you know, we did it 1, 2, 3. We did it four pairs ago. Yeah. So going back to NAS, you know, like I'm not interested in trying to sell this. I mean, we are massively bullish. I would really, if price could find a reason to come down into here, I would like to get a buy. You know, I just don't know if we're going to get it, you know, but the way I see the legs, these are our legs right now, right? So we could still push down, and then I would be more than happy to look for a buy out of these two areas to go higher. Okay. That's how I see NAS. NJ, I'll cover NJ real quick. NJ, just like AJ, I'm looking for buys, right? You could see we have a really nice accumulation in here. And the accumulation we do have, this to me is our sign of strength, right? So we do have a type 2. I do, just because of we're on a higher time frame, we're on an intraday schematic, I would really appreciate a nice entry from down here. If we can walk ourselves down, because we're roughly, I mean, it's almost like 100 pips now. Hold on, what is it? Yeah, so 60 pips. So if we can walk down during London session, I would really like to get an entry out of here on NJ, and I'm looking for the buy out of it. You can kind of see right in here, really clean type 2 schematic. If we can do this, this is where I'm going to be buying from. I'm going to look for buys out of here, right? Out of this area right in here. I'd really like to get that buy, especially in this candle right here, right? In that candle, that was the last mitigation, the LPS before the takeoff. That's what I want to catch. What time frames do I consider lower time frame? It's not a time frame, it's the legs, right? So, you know, I might use like a certain time frame itself to see the leg, but you know, like I was saying, I can see the intraday leg from a 30-minute. I can also see the lower time frame from the 30-minute. It's all about the legs. So yeah. Like I would say, like, if I want to see a lower time frame leg, I'm under a 15-minute down to the seconds. If I want to see the intraday, like 3 hour to like the 4 hour, if I want to see the higher time frame, like the 4 hour up to the weekly, that's typically normally how I look at them. Okay. But yeah, NJ, I'm looking for buys. I really would like a buy out of here. Like when I get up in the morning, I'll definitely take a look and see if we can trade down into here. I'm going to be looking for the buys. If the candle has already been mitigated, does price ever revisit? I mean, it can. I don't want it to, though. Yeah. If the mitigations happen, then I want price to leave. I want price to take off. So, and you can see, like I was in here, I was waiting. You can see my alert says spring. I guess I can delete that. When we were in here, I really wanted a spring this morning so that we can break, and then I played off the spring, but no such luck. So yeah. What reason would it come back? If it revisits the exact same price point, chances are it's going to be a failure of whatever schematic it's doing. There should be no, I mean, if you think about it, the reason they're coming back to mitigate, like right here, This is the last order that mitigated out of here. We should see that sign of strength. You know, you know when the last order was filled by the institution because it doesn't come back, right? And after that, they need to now, after they take some, they take some liquidity or they take some profits or whatever they're going to do, they need to come back to mitigate to go higher. So, yeah, especially when you're dealing on the lower time frame, like you're going to see that go. So yeah, that's why I go to break even, because I have yet to, especially on a reduced risk, I have yet to move my stops to reduced risk and get popped and then price go in my direction. I have yet to get that done. So because typically price doesn't linger. If they're mitigating orders and filling, additional orders, they fill them and then they go. So but yeah, NJ, that's what I'm looking on NJ. SPX is in the area I was looking for the distro, right? So out of that 4-hour distro, we are in the area that I was looking on that 4-hour distro. All right. Again, keep in mind that if there was ever such a counter trend move of counter trend moves, this is the most counter trend move you can ever make, is trying to sell US indices because they are so massively bullish. Ideally, I would have liked us to just push up and not build bullish order flow, because right now we've built bullish order flow. So what I need to see is I need to see a clean distribution. On SPX, nothing is clean about the distro, right? Nothing is clean about this distro. I would even argue, I would say, just like this distro turned into a reaccumulation, this distro looks like it's probably going to turn into a reaccumulation, especially since I'm seeing an accumulation down here. So I'm personally, I'm not taking any buy positions on SPX until we either invalidate the distro and take out this high, or we come down into this area here, which is the cause of this high, or down in here. Those are the only two. These are the two main areas that I'll be looking for buys out of SPX. Yes, we do have a reaccumulation here. But this reaccumulation happened, this happened after we took the high. So now if we do take, where I would be interested in that reaccumulation is if this reaccumulation is the cause of this high, then this is my first area to look for the buy to go higher. And if not, I'll be looking, ultimately down in here. So that's how I'm looking at SPX. I'm still looking for the sell, but it's got to be one hell of a refrigerator worthy schematic for me to put risk on and try to sell it. And I'm not buying until I get confirmations of a reaccumulation and that we invalidate this supply point, right? Because this supply point, this distribution caused a massive break, right? Outside of the trading range, broke structure on the intraday. Until we invalidate, and all of this is just noise. It's just order flow, right? Until we either make a new low or we break the high that's holding bearishness, we're just in no man's land. All right. So for me, SPX is probably the cleanest, as in what I would need to see for me to get into a position is the cleanest. US 30, not so much. US 30 to me is a mess. I did catch some buys on US 30, ends up, there's a couple partials, but a lot of it was just break even stuff. Let me clean this up. So US 30, again, same thing, right? You can see we had a terminal shakeout right here. And then what do? We broke outside of the trading range and broke structure. So same kind of concept. It's building bullish order flow. The distros here are getting invalidated, tons of reaccumulation. We're pushing higher. I'm personally not going to be looking for buys until we either do one of two things, right? We need to come back down here, or we need to invalidate this area up here. If we can invalidate this and confirm, right, the reaccumulation, which I talked about like Bitcoin as well. Here's your creek. That's your creek. We've already jumped the creek, right? All you need now is the break of structure. If this is the low, this is your previous high, right? We break that, we have the reaccumulation, we walk it back up and go higher. So that's like my thought on US indices is, yeah, we're bullish. The smart play is to be in buys. You can't discount the fact that we're in a distro. So my philosophy in schematics, trade the distro, react to the reaccumulation. Have I gone over NASDAQ? Yeah. I did it like two pairs ago. So just rewind it. Just rewind it. So I mean that's pretty much everything I'm looking at. I'm being a little cautious with what I'm managing. Like I don't want to overextend myself because the more trades I take on, the more journaling I have to do. So I'm still trying to catch up on some of the journaling. Yeah, you got it, bro. I know, dude. My wife's gonna kill me. So, yeah, absolutely. Any other last minute questions? Anything else you guys are looking at? I mean, hopefully, especially the CAD one, man. If you guys hopefully, took something away from that CAD breakdown, because, like I said, I've seen a lot of people that are buying, a lot of people that are selling. To me, I'm just sitting on the sidelines because, the sell just doesn't make sense to me right now. And obviously the buy, I just need a little more confirmations on the buy. So, cool, man. Cool. Very good. Awesome. But, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So listen, if there's no other questions, man, awesome. It's been a long night. I'm ready to hit the sack. I'll be up in the morning, see what London brings, and hopefully position myself in either, something a little more advantageous. One thing I will say, I mean, I don't know how you guys are journaling. I don't know how you guys are following your charts, but something I've definitely noticed the last 4 weeks, majority, I would say 90% of my profits have come from Thursday New York and Friday New York sessions. Which so I've honestly I've even stopped looking at charts on Monday mornings. I really don't do much with it. So, but that was just something that I found pretty unique. Not something I typically don't trade a lot of Fridays, but I have been lately just because of that. And Thursday and Fridays have been my biggest profitable days. So awesome, man, awesome. Maybe those are TP days. Well, listen, I've been holding EU, going on a month now. I got into that on a Thursday. Been holding, actually Chef JPY was the same thing. Chef JPY was on a Friday. I've been holding that. So yeah. It's yeah. One thing I'll definitely, tell you is go and make sure when you're back testing, not only back test like the chart itself, but like back test, you saw like I put in time and trade. How long are you in the trades? How long does the schematic take to form? What day and session? If you don't have that in your journal, that the time of day and the session that it's in, that you're taking your entries, my suggestion, maybe put that in there. All right. Because there's a lot of information, a lot of analytical data that you can derive from your journal that's going to help you in your trading plan. So I mean, those are key things. So TP days for institutions. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, we'll see. I don't know why they would be TP days though, because the whole reason I'm getting in on the schematic is because the institutions are buying at that time. So, but it is what it is. Gold, yeah, gold, just rewind it. I did gold like in the middle of the session. So, but that being said, listen, thank you guys for jumping on. Hopefully you guys learned something, and I'll catch everybody later, man.